big question really that we're asking tonight. What is this global framework that can be hammered out? Because different countries have different points of view and a very disparate set of restrictions of various kinds on crypto assets. Ajeet Khurana, founder of Reflexical, is joining us today on the show. Sidharth Sogani, founder and CEO of CREBACO, is speaking with us. And we're also joined by Gaurav Dahake, founder and CEO of Bitbns. Welcome to all of you. Great to speak with you on the show this evening. Gaurav, let me just begin with your overall take on the key question that we've posed. What is this global framework? Are we any closer to sort of a global agreement, or is every nation pretty much doing their own thing? Like India has a 30% tax, no one else does.
Yeah. So the G20 nations had proposed a thing called as the travel rule, where when any amount about $2,000 is being withdrawn, it has to be withdrawn to a KYC wallet. And this happened in 2020. This was proposed in 2020. And there was a 2-year sort of a window in which most nations had to sort of comply and come up with their own sort of recommendations around it. So that has not sort of panned out exactly, and most nations have gone across and did things on their own, and they're still sort of mentioning that no one is sort of coordinating. The G20 nations specifically wanted to take that onus and ensure that all of them sort of coordinate and follow a common decorum in terms of how crypto assets would move. On another note, there are blockchain forensics firms which are being used by every single exchange globally that is out there. So Chainalysis, TRN Labs, multiple ones are there. And it is extremely difficult to sort of use crypto in nefarious activities. That proportion is reduced year on year from 2020 to 2021. That proportion has fallen by from about somewhere around 2%. It has gone down to 0.3% now, according to some of these blockchain forensic firms. So not very sure as to why that remains a cause of concern, and most exchanges have collaboratively gone ahead and talked with the ministry on this end and tried addressing that.
Gaurav, you're speaking from the point of view of exchanges in India, which are legit, who've spoken to the ministry. But I mean, you know better than others that crypto assets is not something that can be held closely and monitored by a few companies, right? It's a technology out there. Let me come to Ajeet Khurana on that question, and then I'll return to you. Ajeet, the question, do you think that it's not a valid one, or not a valid concern that the finance minister has raised on this global stage? Every nation is worried about this, right? Can it be used for money laundering? Can it be used for terror financing? Where are the clear answers to that question?
Oh, the answer is very clear. Can it be used? The answer is a clear yes. Like all other forms of money, like currency notes, gold, or whatever other form of value, they can definitely be misused. And to that extent, she is right. And she's also right that there should be international coordination. However, if the conclusion we draw from her statements is that somehow we have to restrict, ban, or curtail crypto, then that would be a little bit of a stretch, because then we would have to curtail, ban just so many things in the world, including social media, because all of that has misused. Coincidentally, for more than 6 years now, I think 6.5 years, FATF, which is the Financial Action Task Force, has been deliberating on crypto at a global level. Other than the travel rule, which Gaurav talked about, there are many others, primarily in the area of anti-money laundering and KYC. And to some extent, most regulated exchanges in the world have followed those guidelines.
Ajeet, having said that, I don't know if it's a fair equivalence. When you're comparing crypto to gold and currency, crypto is easier to misuse. It's easier to be anonymous. That's the concern, isn't it?
No, actually, Tamanna, compared to bearer instruments such as currency notes, as an example, where if A gives currency notes to B and B gives it to C, C has no way of knowing that A was involved just one hop ago. In cryptocurrency, on the contrary, these ledgers are maintained openly. I do have to confess that in the equivalent of RTGS, NEFT, UPI, etc., which leave even a stronger trail, because it is not just addresses but identities. Sure, I agree that banking networks give a still clearer picture, but it is, every one of these instruments has their own concern. currency notes and other bearer assets have even more so compared to crypto. And the only way to solve this is not just international cooperation, which of course is required, but is to come up with guidelines, regulations, which has been the need of the hour.
Sidharth Sogani, this is a long-standing debate. Why do you think that there has been no real movement on these global regulatory frameworks? What is the hitch there?
See, worldwide, most of the G20 nations, like even Gaurav mentioned, they all have regulations for crypto. We are very late. Our tax clarity just came earlier this year, whereas out of G20 nations, I think 18 nations have tax clarities in place. So we are late. Sorry, you were saying something?
No, go ahead. We're listening to you.
So it's important that I think India needs to understand the fact that regulating this will embrace a lot of will encourage a lot of industry participants to grow in the country. Just being late is not going to help this time, because see, if you see in the early 90s, internet came in, our Information Technology Act came in 2000. It was amended after 15 years. So, we are very slow on the technology regulations already. But in crypto, if we do this, like, we all are witnessing brain drain. It's everywhere in our country. Most of the entrepreneurs are moving out. The developers are moving out more than that. So it's going to hurt the economy real bad.
What is going to hurt the economy? Regulations for crypto?
Yeah, if the regulations are late, it's definitely going to hurt the economy.
No, but we have regulations. We have regulations, and it's dropped volumes massively.
See, the thing
Gaurav,
is,
one sec. Let me come to you on this, because Sidharth has given me a great segue to what is happening right now. 30% tax came after the budget. Volumes have plunged. Last week we reported that a lot of people had no way to buy more. You could sell, but you could not buy. People were panicking about it. What is the update? What's happening right now, Gaurav?
Right. So most banking sort of channels or payment processing access has been cut off from crypto exchanges. And that is sort of unilaterally been cut off across most exchanges. So people are not able to deposit money. They're not able to buy assets. Now, how do you do that when you're saying you're going to properly tax it? You're going to sort of introduce taxation and ensure all things are sort of recorded, maintained, and still sort of trying to stifle that by not allowing access to anything as basics as a bank account or a payment processing part. Is contrary to what the government is trying to sort of portray. So on one end, there are sort of statements that are being made which showcase that like someone from the Finance Minister saying that NFTs would gain a lot of value in the metaverse and they are going to be an important part of our future. This is a statement made by Mr. Jain Sinha a day back. And so like you're saying that these technologies are important, you're creating the digital rupee using blockchain. All of these things are happening, but you want to restrict people's access to it from one end, in spite of the fact where the legitimate exchanges that are out there are willing to comply with every single regulation, report you in real time suspicious activities. That is sort of a concern. Like if you're not willing to address those issues and still say that these remain a cause of concern, when these data are kind of being openly given in at the real-time level, then that creates confusion in the minds of people. And a lot of them have left. Like India would typically have lost over $50 billion just because of this in the last 1 year. So Polygon has left. There are many developers who are building really good projects that have left. A lot of traders are also leaving now and settling abroad. That seems to be a very major concern, because 4 years down the line, we'll figure out that we've missed the bus.
What happens, for example, to Bitbns, Gaurav? Can you continue like this?
So it is going to be difficult. It is going to be difficult for most exchanges to sort of continue. We will definitely continue. We also continue during the RBI banking ban, and we figured out certain innovative solutions around that. We'll continue on that, and we'll create some different products, including decentralized products that people would sort of get an access to. But that is kind of limiting the scope of what possibly could have been done, where other crypto exchanges or entities are looking at different things that they can do in the Web3 spectrum versus exchanges in India looking for the next payment processor or a banking access. And that has been the repeating story for the last 3.5 years.
Ajit, what has been the impact of this? So it's a double whammy. First was the 30% tax and then 1% TDS. So, people felt that why do we want to put money somewhere where we're going to be taxed so heavily? And then the whole pipeline is now sort of been closed off.
Right.
So Ajeet Khurana, I just want to get a sense of what this means for the industry. How many of these players do you think will survive?
Two answers. One is a direct answer. The taxation.
Always direct answer.
Yes, it is killer. As in 70% was eroded just by the tax-related implications, and then came the payment problems, which takes away another 70% of the remaining 30%. I think that almost all exchanges in India are presently encountering a reduction of more than 90% trading volumes. No exchange, or for that matter, no business in the world really has those sort of trading margins to take a hit of 90% of sales and still continue operations in the same way. So while Gaurav will come up with innovative methods, one of which he has listed, but the fact is there's going to be a bloodbath in very little time if there is nothing done to stem this. And Tamanna, if you'll allow me to ask a question, not necessarily you. If the underlying business of an exchange has never been declared illegal in India, if there was a court case in the Supreme Court of India challenging the RBI circular of banning banking services, which RBI lost, on what basis is bank account not being allowed? Nobody is borrowing money against Bitcoin, so there is no chance of loans being defaulted upon. If banking services are deprived to what is otherwise recognized as a legitimate business, are we banning it without calling it banning?
Well, that truly is the question. Gaurav, you want to come in on that very quickly?
It's seems like a quasi ban to a certain degree, and this is going to move a lot more people towards decentralized sort of mediums, decentralized exchanges and other things, which is going to be even harder to track. Right now, we sort of work with a lot of government agencies to track movement of funds that have gone outside, and that is going to be really hard when you don't have the origin source itself of how the money sort of came into being and how that got converted into crypto asset. So it is going to be interesting as to how this things kind of pan out with the government stance, where they have sort of tried restricting the existing sort of infrastructure that is out there. And they're saying, hey, till things sort of settle down and the volume sort of drop, we'll then sort of introduce something that would probably comply with all other nations together.
Yeah. Sidharth, just want you to come in on what the industry is going through right now. Investors have, only one way to go, and which is exit. Do you think this is going to lead to more exits? Do you have any data to share? Because, you were the one with that famous data set of how many investors are coming in and investing in this space right now. Have you seen a drastic reduction there?
Yes, so what we observed is, of course, the exchanges would be the better ones to vet it. But what we have observed is a lot of money and Bitcoin withdrawals were witnessed in the last few months, starting from, I think, December, when the talks of regulations were starting to come in, right? And it spiked post the finance bill. And just before the 1st April, I think between 25th to the 31st of March, there were issues at all ends where the exchanges faced liquidity issues for withdrawals, both banking and crypto withdrawals, because a lot of people wanted to cash out and file their taxes before the regulations came in. So this is hitting. I mean, there are definitely a lot of liquidity providers backed out, as far as we know, because they did not know how to process the liquidities to the exchanges post the regulations. And after the TDS is gonna come in action, I think that's 1st of June or 1st of July, I'm not
Right.
sure. Then it's gonna be even more difficult, because the moment TDS comes in, the task becomes super difficult for a liquidity provider, because the spread in the order book would widen by 1%, which is not right for any exchange, because the orders would, like, I mean, if somebody is at 99, the next would be at 100. It won't be 99.1. So the gap increases. This is bad for the exchanges and the fiat crypto bridge, right? However, if you look at the big picture, crypto was designed to be above the regulations. You ban it. Even it's banned in China. The crypto fiat bridges are banned in China. But if you go to Alibaba Express or AliExpress and you're buying something, you ask the merchant if he's ready to accept crypto, he'll say yes. So, I mean, in spite
Saying
of
is exactly what regulators, finance ministries, central banks don't want to hear. At its very basic nature, crypto is anti-establishment, to put it very, very loosely, and that's what they don't like. Hence this fear of a regulatory framework.
If power is taken away from you, nobody would like it.
Yeah.
And crypto is designed to do that, because when power is centralized, it is exploited. The history is.
Yeah.
You look back,
You're not making Gaurav's case very easy, as if anyone in government circles is watching this.
Exchanges. Just let me give me like 15 seconds.
Sure.
The exchanges are the most crucial pillars of the industry, which serves both sides, the fiat side and the crypto side. If you are breaking that bridge, people who are in crypto, they will continue to grow in crypto, and the fiat ecosystem is the one which will lose a lot. So you have to
people in crypto in
support and
India
encourage
today
the
don't
exchanges,
understand.
don't kill them.
They don't understand what they've invested
They
in.
will.
They think it's something
They
that will
will.
give them a
It's
lot of
inevitable.
money. But Gaurav, let me just take this forward. You spoke about surviving the RBI circular and going to the Supreme Court, etc. What is going to happen this time? And by you, of course, I mean the industry by extension, because you're the representative here on this particular panel. Will you go to court again?
So, like there is a famous saying which says that in India, you will see the door has been shut, but the window remains open. So we're hoping that at least it right now seems that the door has been closed around crypto, but we see a window of opportunity. Will not want to go the Supreme Court route, because in spite of having that as a positive decision on our end, we're still seeing that that has been sort of breached, and the payment processing access or banking access is still being curtailed, right? So even if you go through that sort of a long fight, would that necessarily serve the purpose? And if you're sort of committed towards driving users into crypto over time, what are other possible options that we can sort of explore? So there are going to be two ways around that. Earlier as well, we had sort of taken that approach that we'll probably build something innovative, which would help people sort of keep getting access into crypto.
Right.
And there is the other way where you sort of go head on and you fight and you try and sort of make that work. But in that approach was tried out, that approach worked for a while, and then again it has been curtailed in some other way. So the efficacy of that approach should be seen, and probably the exchanges would have to. And this is precisely why there have been not a lot of exchanges that have come in India per se, in the sense there have been 4 or 5 major exchanges that have been there in India. Because of the lack of clarity, there have been not others who are sort of jumping or building exchanges or others. Yeah.
So the door is shut, there's a window open. Is it a window from where investors will exit their positions? Or is it a window for the business to grow? It remains to be seen. But we'll watch this space very closely. Thank you so much, Sidharth, Ajeet, and Gaurav, for joining us on the lead debate this evening.
Thank you.
Bye.